Hey, good morning everybody, and welcome back to Soup to Nuts Kitchen Time. This morning I'm going to make a rendition of patatas fritas, or a Spanish tortilla, with my twist on it. So the ingredients we're going to have is one medium-sized onion. I've got 6 potatoes over here that I've already peeled, and I'm going to slice them up in just a hot minute. And we're going to use some flour. I have Follow Your Heart smoked Gouda cheese, olive oil, earth balanced butter, and for my seasonings I'm going to use white pepper and red pepper flakes. So there's going to be a big spice to this one today. So just quick preparation. Take your onion, put it on a pan. I'm going to go walk it over to the toaster oven. Put that onion in the toaster oven, turn it on to, I had it 400, bake, turn it on for an hour, and bam! Through the miracle of time, you get this nice roasted onion. So I saw this on a different video of people that went through the famine, and they were using just a baked onion, and that's how they were eating it, just like a baked potato. So I was like, let me try it. So I tried it. It was really good. So we're going to put that to a side right now. And I'm going to go ahead and mandolin up my 6 potatoes. So bam. Okay, so I went ahead and did my potatoes up and cut them on the mandolin. I'm going to get some oil and butter going really quick. So I have what's left of my olive oil butter, which is not a tablespoon. And then I'm going to put probably not a tablespoon of butter, maybe a tablespoon. I'm going to put this on medium heat because what I've learned is I'm going to use just a little bit of this oil. I'm just going to use a tablespoon to dip this out. And that's all I want. So it looks like about 2 tablespoons of oil and a tablespoon of butter. And again, what I was saying is I'm going to put this on medium heat to heat up, because I don't want it to get so hot that when I put my potatoes in that they turn black, because they're going to be cooking while I'm building everything in the pan. So what I want them to do is just brown up nice and slowly. That way we'll have a crispy top and bottom and a creamy soft center, and I swear it's really good. So I've got my potatoes over here and all cut up. What I'm going to do is just plaster them with flour, and this just helps bind and makes them nice and crispy. And I thought what would be nice here is, if you've ever seen at the Bass Pro Shop, the little thing that they use to batter fish. You put the fish in and it has all the breadcrumbs in there, then you flip it upside down, blah, blah, blah. That would be really good right here, because I'm going to just get my hands in here, get these all coated with flour, and they're going to stick together, so you have to spend a little time breaking them up so the flour gets on each potato. And once you're satisfied with the coating, then you can just go ahead and add your seasonings. So that was quite a bit of flour, and I could have probably used a bigger bowl. Okay, so the oil and butter are going really, you can probably see it right here. So what I'm going to do is take some white pepper, and I like a bite. So there's a good amount of white pepper, some red pepper flakes. And the last time I made this, there was a heck of an aftertaste of pepper and red pepper flakes. So if you don't like them spicy, I suggest you leave those out. And you could put garlic, salt, or onion powder in here and have the same results. Just flavor them however you want. Now, we have all that. I'm gonna go ahead and wipe off my cutting pad real quick. Remember, we baked our onion earlier, and we baked it for an hour. And I'm just gonna peel off the outside. And I want to keep as much of the outside skin as I possibly can because it's really good. And the rest of this I'm just going to throw away. If I can pick up the little crumbs. There we go. Now this is really fun to cut up because it's going to be hot. Just cut off the very top and it's going to all break apart. Out, and it's hot. So, and I'm gonna use that as well. So I'm gonna get out my chopping knife. Get that out of the way, and just start chopping this onion. And it doesn't matter how you chop it because it's gonna fall apart. But all you want is the little bits. And I swear this inside piece is so sweet. So it doesn't matter. These are just big yellow onions. They weren't even a sweet onion. And like the very core, that's not going in the potatoes. And it's so sweet and good. And you can just take this, and like I say, this was the feast or famine way of feeding your family back in the Depression, is just bake an onion and eat it like a baked potato. So I'm gonna leave some bigger hunks. I was using smaller pieces, and you just lose them in the potatoes. So I'm going to leave some bigger hunks this time. And again, I'm going to put the smoked Gouda, and this is Follow Your Heart smoked Gouda cheese. That's one of the ones that we really like, that melts. A lot of people say that vegan cheese doesn't melt, so you really have to go through and test all the cheeses and what you're going to do with them to see the results that you're going to get, because we have got some cheese that just doesn't melt and it's like, oh, it's horrible. So I'm just going to use 2 slices of cheese, and I'm going to put it in, break it up and put it in as I put the potatoes in, so you'll see that. All right, so my oil is down on between 4 and 5, and I'm just going to go ahead and put a layer in there. So you'll hear them sizzle right off the bat. Okay, so I'm getting my first layer of potatoes in there, and these are the ones that are going to crisp up and brown up. So as soon as you get a layer and you're satisfied with what it looks like, I'm going to sprinkle those with just a layer of onion. And a little bit more onion right here. Now I'm going to turn this down to about 4. And then I'm going to go ahead and put just another layer of potatoes right over it really quick. So I want my layer of cheese in the middle. So after this, I'm going to put another layer of onions and my cheese, and then we'll just go from there. This is a small frying pan, but this is only going to be made for me. Angie will take a bite, and that's all she's going to have because of the oil and the butter. She doesn't like anything with fat in it. So I got a second layer down, and just kind of push it down a little bit. Sprinkle some more onion around in there, and when you bite into this, you're going to get the crispy brown potatoes on the outside and the creamy onion and potato in the middle, layered with some cheese. So I just ripped the cheese up, lay it in here. I might have to do more than, no, it looks like 2 slices is going to do it. And the cheese will melt and kind of drizzle around in different spots, so that's pretty good. Now another layer of potatoes, and you can see the red pepper flakes that are going in there. A A lot of them came out when I shook it. And this was 6 potatoes, and I thought I could use 5, and I'm going to use, it's going to end up to be about 5 potatoes. So now I've got my cheese in my middle with the onions. And I don't know if you can hear it cooking, but the potatoes on the bottom are just sizzling, and I just want them to go very low and brown up really nice. I had it where it turns black. There was nothing wrong with that if you're a Cajun, and it tasted okay. But I didn't want blackened potatoes. I wanted brown potatoes. Okay, so the last of my onion going in on this layer. And that was 1 whole onion. I'm going to try and keep it out of the middle and put it on the edges because I always stack everything up in the middle. So, and then whatever potatoes I can fill in here. Now as this is cooking, I'll check it in about 15 minutes, probably more like 10 because I'm constantly checking to see how they're browning up. And then I'm going to go ahead and flip it on a plate, and a lot of that oil will drizzle off, and you'll end up with a lot less oil as you're turning and browning this thing. So again, I'm going to call this my rendition of a patata frita, or fried potato, or tortilla as they serve in Spain. And I guess it's been a long time. It's been 1980. It was in the 80s I was in Spain, and I used to love to eat tortillas. That was one of the tapas that they always served. Now I'm going to push this down, and you're going to have to, every time you flip it, you're going to have to adjust and push things around, and it'll turn out just fine. And again, I see some of the seasoning down here, and I'm going to be messy. Get that in there, and I have some potatoes left over. So it looks like 5 potatoes was the right number, and I have 6 in here. I'm going to try and crowd them in because I don't like them. And I'll have a slice of this.
Looks like you need to fill this side.
Oh, okay. Filling up this side.
Right. There you go.
So we got 6 potatoes in this old pan. And these are Yukon Gold potatoes, if anybody's interested. And we've made them with other potatoes, but I think we made them with Yukon Gold the last time, and it was a really good flavor. So, okay, so I'm just going to leave that there. This is what I had left over. I could put them, now they're going in. 6 potatoes. Final numbers. And you can see the red pepper flakes. Just cover that dude up. Smush that down on there. Probably more potatoes than I needed. And while they're cooking, I'll go ahead and clean up. So this is a good time to let this I'm going to go for about 15 minutes and then I'm going to check it. So we'll come back in 15 minutes. All right, so this has been cooking for about 10 minutes, I guess, long enough for me to clean up. I'll bet when I pulled off the lid, they were stuck to the lid. You can see it there, so I kind of just pulled them off real careful. So what's really cool is when I'm looking at it through the lid, you could see the moisture coming up through, and you could see the flour binding up. So I can see little brown edges. I don't know what it's going to look like under there, but I'm just going to gently with my metal fork in my daughter's Christmas gift pans check the sides to make sure they're not sticking, and they seem pretty good. And this is the hardest part of the whole show right here, folks, is putting the pan on and flipping it over really fast. And you can see that nice golden brown color right there. And I'm going to let the oil drip down just a little bit. It could have been a little darker than this, but what I'm going to do is just feed this whole thing right back down into the pan. And of course there's one left, so we'll just put him right there. And you can see the oil left over. Oh, it smells delicious when the smell comes back up through. So nice crispy brown potatoes, and you can see that oil drained right down to the bottom in a hurry. So what I'm going to do is just push down gently on these to make sure that the potatoes on the bottom are all making contact with the pan. And then we'll just let this go for another 10 or 15 minutes, and you can see how the onions there crisped up, and the smell is wonderful. So we're just going to let that go, and then we'll come back and check it, and I'll just turn it off and leave it, and it can cool down while it's in the pan. You don't want to bite into this when it's piping hot, I promise you. All right, so I flipped my potatoes in the pan, and they've been cooking for 13 minutes. So again, I'm just going to take the lid off, check around the edges real quick, and I think I may have cooked them too long. And you can see how it's loose in the pan. So I'm going to just flip them back over. Again, the hardest part. Let me do it right here. Oh, and that's a pretty good look. Whoop, whoop. So you have to make a decision what side you want it showing. That's pretty good right there. So I think I'm going to leave it just like that. All right, so welcome back. I let my potatoes cool down for just a hot minute while we were looking at videos and everything. So I'm just going to slice this up. Nice and crispy on the outside. And you can feel how soft it is in the middle. Cut it up like a pie. I used absolutely zero salt in this. We'll make sure that the dogs don't taste this because I just took a bite off that one potato, and you can taste the pepper. I'm going to put a little salt on it. And just take a quick bite. So this is good. I didn't get that big stinging after bite, so I must have got a potato with just a little bit on. So again, I can taste the onion in there that was baked in the toaster oven, so that brings the sweetness out. The potatoes are very spicy. I can taste the white pepper, and there's some red pepper flakes. Crispy on the outside, creamy in the middle. I haven't tasted a hint of the cheese yet, so when that hits you, you'll usually get that. But really good. This is a keeper recipe, and again, put your own seasonings in it, put your own spin on it. If you want to put salt and pepper in it and leave the white pepper and the chili flakes out, that's fine. I like a little bite to my food, so you may not. Thanks for watching us on Soup to Nuts. Subscribe down below and stay tuned for our next video. Have a nice day.